We are live.
We are live, I think.
What's
I
up,
hope.
motherfuckers?
What's going on, guys? I'm Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21. That's Apollo Taj Mahal,
Hi.
the #1 underground comedian in Chicago.
Self-proclaimed.
Self-proclaimed. That's okay. Wherever everybody's self-proclaimed at something, right?
Yeah, I used to be self-proclaimed best tennis player of all time.
We are the guys from the Did You See That Shit podcast. If you don't know, now you do. Thank you for
better
watching. We apologize right off the bat. I want to give an apology for our last live stream, the one that we did immediately following UFC 224 and Bellator 199 on Saturday night. The audio, let's just say we had an issue. We fixed it, and it won't happen again. So the audio should be good from here on out.
I also apologize for nothing except for that. That's the only thing I apologize. I was really turned last Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, and you got your panties in a ruffle over the Pennington issue.
Yes.
Like a lot of people did. Let's get to it. Let's start there.
Because I'm a sensitive guy who was drunk.
Well, if you guys don't know, I don't know why the fuck you'd be watching us if you didn't know, but the whole Pennington issue, right, between round 4 and 5, when she said, she turned around and famously said, no, I'm done. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I didn't make it. I reserved to make a comment, and I'm glad I did because, a lot of people rush to judgment. A lot of my colleagues, a lot of the MMA media people rush to judgment.
And one drunk guy in the living room.
They, the thing is, it's a combat sport, right?
Yeah.
And this is always going to happen. And I made a point on our podcast, which will probably be out later today. The thing is, MMA is 25 years old. People want to compare this to boxing, which is how old? Well over 100, but let's just say 100.
Yeah.
When was boxing 25 years into it? So, we'll get there. I don't understand what the fucking big deal is, man. Every fighter at one point has been in that position, and if you haven't, you might not be a fighter.
And I talked about my personal experiences dealing with this kind of stuff, especially with cutting weight. But you had to admit, it was not pretty to see. Like, that was not pretty...
That wasn't bad. I've seen way worse beatings.
I think it also...
if anything, the real conversation should be that the UFC shouldn't have put someone who was ill-equipped to battle Nunes. How is that Nunes' fault?
That's not. I don't blame Nunes at all.
What's the issue here?
So this is also a conversation that her coach brought up. Her coach said, I don't think this would have been as big of an issue. I'm paraphrasing. It's not his exact statement. If she was a man. And
it wouldn't have.
And he said, I do not coach my fighters any different.
Jason Cutts you're talking about.
Yeah, Jason Cutts.
Her corner.
Yep, her corner. And he
was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, kind of defending himself, and so was Raquel Pennington. So, they don't have an issue with this, as most fighters don't.
And I am going to say, I still believe what I believed when I first saw it. But the fact that he brought it up did make me see it in a new light. If she was a man, would I have felt the same way that I felt? And 100%, no, I wouldn't have. And I'm going to be 100% honest. The fact that she was a female, seeing a female get beat up that way.
It wasn't even, I mean, the Cachoeira fight, Shevchenko beat the fuck out of her.
Oh, I know.
That wasn't even that bad. I mean, we live in a fucking pussified country, pussified world. This is ridiculous, man. Listen.
If it was a man, I would not have an issue.
This is fucking combat sports, man. Shit is going to fucking happen.
I am the same guy who said after the Conor McGregor fight, they should have let Conor fight. After with Floyd Mayweather, I was like, they should have let him fight. That's bull. What are we, a bunch of pansies? We're fighters. But the fact that she was a woman optically had a lot of issues, and I think that is what people are having issues with.
I don't know. I don't think so. That's the first time I've ever heard even her being a woman really have to do with anything.
When he brought that up, that's when I started thinking about it. Yeah, and that's why I apologize for it. I think people don't want to admit it. I'm going to admit it.
I don't know.
The fact that I looked at her and I saw, and she is a woman, and seeing her get beat up like that optically was not pleasing to my eyes.
Sure, I think some people could have that point of view, but I mean, all in all, I think a lot of people in the MMA media
would not have made a big deal if it was a man.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I just think that a lot of people in the MMA media, they rush to judgment, and maybe they're looking for headlines. I don't know what they're doing, but they seem to be outspoken on a lot of these issues, and certain issues we can have intelligent debates, but let's have logical arguments, right? Because I don't know. A lot of it just seems hokey.
Me and you disagree on it, yet we can still have a conversation about it. I personally believe the reason I overreacted and why I feel the way I did feel about it was because she was a woman, and optically that was unpleasing, and I think that also has some role, not a whole role, in playing how people reacted to it online and through journalism, that optically, as a society, we're not used to seeing that.
I don't know. I've seen way worse.
We've all seen way worse.
So I don't understand why that was any different. Anyway, let's talk about some other things here. What else? How about Chuck Liddell on MMA Hour?
Please
saying
stop.
that he's back. What, really? So him and Tito are going to go at it for another. They're going to get another go.
I cared about this when it was on the Ultimate Fighter because I felt that they were still they're out of their prime, but they were still
a long time ago, really.
I know. The second time they're on the Ultimate Fighter where Tito had to pull out for a back injury again.
Yeah. I made the point on the podcast, which again, hopefully will be out later today, the full episode 24, and that was that, if Chuck and Tito were going to fight, if they were going to do it under, Bellator, UFC, or a promotion that knew how to promote that fight with a reasonable level of professionalism, I would be okay with it. However, if he ends up with Oscar De La Hoya, essentially Chuck Liddell and Tito are running that show.
Where are my fart noises?
And I don't know how I'd like a promotion run by those guys.
By Chuck, yes. Tito, no. Another quick question. I heard this on the way over here. Could be fake news. Did Chuck say he wants a couple more fights and then John Jones?
That's real news.
What? That's real news?
Yeah, he said it.
Oh, Chuck Liddell, you and your mohawk. Please, no.
And John Jones responded, essentially saying, okay, bring it. Are you serious? Come on. Chuck's 46.
John Jones could do all the coke before that fight.
Man, it's crazy. What else? Bellator 199 was pretty decent, man. Ryan Bader, 15 seconds, knocked out King Mo.
I think it was more than decent.
Didn't think it would go like that.
I didn't think it was going to go like that, and I also did not think we would be having a conversation about Chet Congo possibly fighting for a title.
Yeah, he knocked out Javi Ayala in the first round. Now, I thought Javi Ayala, I'm going to fucking drop this.
I know.
It wouldn't even be that bad. I thought Javi Ayala was going to be this guy who there was an opportunity in Bellator in the heavyweight division to, let's face it, it's not that deep. So if you're a decent guy, they're going to keep you around, right? Especially if you're exciting. He just went 3 rounds with Roy. With Big Country, so I thought, okay, this guy is reasonable chin. He's fairly tough. Well, it turns out the 43-year-old Congo fucking flat. And it's not that Congo knocked out Ayala. Ayala looked fucking terrible.
Yeah, he looked awful.
You noted that he's dragging his back foot, and you're like, I wonder if it was in. No, he always does that. That's his stance. He's like a zombie.
It's not a great stance for heavyweights.
His nickname's Eye Candy.
Because
they should change it to Foot Injury.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is when you see, I saw him against the cage, he immediately got on his toes and dipped out. He was very light on his feet.
Yeah, he was.
When he was grappling.
That's one of the things I like about Javi.
It seemed just like, oh, this guy has potential, and then all of a sudden he gets into his fighting stance, and his back leg looks like Bambi. He looks like Bambi, and I'm like,
dead.
I was like, "Yo, what's going on? Are we gonna address this issue? Because that would be the first thing I addressed ever." Or in some alternate weird world that we're living in now, Chet Congo is now the future champion of Bellator, and he is going to be one of the best heavyweights in Bellator.
Yeah, I think so. Chet Congo is
so weird.
It's funny, right? I have to text this person.
Wow.
Try to set up an interview with Jimmy Rivera for later in the day here.
Oh, Jimmy's awesome.
So let me ask you, though, Bellator 199, what was your favorite fight, excluding the Bader and Mo fight?
John Jones. Oh, no, John Fitch.
John Jones. Enough John Jones talk.
Yeah, John Fitch. Here's why. Because I am a fan of martial arts. I'm a fan of high level, as Joe Rogan says it, high level problem solving with dire consequences. That's what that fight was. That was John Fitch went out there and he went against a guy who was explosive and was really good on the feet, and he got tagged, and he had to change his approach and change how he was going to in that fight and win it. And it kind of took me back to the UFC Unleashed days on Spike TV. That's also when I first saw John Fitch fight, was on UFC Unleashed on Spike TV. And now we're watching him again on Paramount Network, which is old Spike TV.
Spike, yeah.
Yeah. That fight was just, it was a masterful performance. Mm-hmm. And then it was hilarious to watch Paul Daly boo him.
Yeah, and while he was getting punched in the face. They weren't very hard. But.
I want to hear the unedited versions of that, because we missed a lot of broadcasting only because of his swearing. Mm-hmm. I don't think Paul Daly understands that there's a ground game in MMA. It's like he believes everybody wants to stand and brawl with you. Listen, if you hit hard, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, and I agree with what Fitch said post-fight, too. He was like, listen, if you don't like it, get up. Figure out a way to do it. Yeah, that's true.
That was, and you know what? It makes me so mad when everybody says that John Fitch is a boring fighter, or even freaking Dana White talking crap about him and things like that. You had the most technically boring fighter on your roster as your champion for about 8 title defenses, and George St. Pierre. I loved watching him fight. He was a high pay-per-view seller. Every time I went to go see him fight, it was a big deal. So if you can find a way to market George St. Pierre, I think you can find a way to market guys like John Fitch and Ben Askren. And I think Bellator is doing a great job with John Fitch. And if Ben Askren so happens to go back that way because of Roy McDonald and John Fitch, I think he would be a great add to that 170, 185 pound divisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, right, that you mentioned 185 too, because it seems a lot of those guys could kind of float between the two.
Especially John Fitch. He's and John Fitch, if he wanted to, if I was Bellator, I would try to work this. John Fitch goes, figures out who's going to be the champ over at 185. Goes up there, wins the belt.
Well, I think Lovato kind of got dibs on the next guy.
I'm just saying, after Lovato, you figure some stuff out. John Fitch goes up to 185, wins the belt. Roy McDonald versus John Fitch, super fight. Boom, marketing genius. Bellator, hire me.
A couple of the things that stood out to me from the Bellator 199 card were Amber Liebrock. Fuck, what a fight. Her and Janae Harding put on a war. It was a 3-round. Man, to me, it was the probably the best fight on that entire card.
It was the most exciting fight.
It was crazy, man.
It was insane.
And we're gonna be speaking with Amber later in the week. I look forward to that very much. She just super impressive. Check this out. The girl's only loss was to Megan Anderson.
Megan Anderson is a scary, scary woman.
And then the other thing from the Bellator card was Aaron Pico. I thought, fucking A, are you kidding me?
He's ruining livers out there, man.
More than cirrhosis.
Oh, man.
We're going to get a chance to speak with his head coach, Antonio McKee Sr., later in the week, and maybe we'll try to get another Aaron Pico conversation.
Knowing McKee, he's just going to hand that phone around.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He's a good dude, man. What else? Let's go on the UFC front. How about Kelvin Gastelum, the way he was able to dominate Souza in the later rounds there? 2 and 3.
I'm sad because he's never going to 170.
I think I hope, because I don't like him at 185, even though he beat Souza, and I didn't think he would, especially in that manner. I don't like him there. I want him at 170.
Bold prediction time. Within a year, I will be saying Kevin Gastelum as the 185-pound champion.
First, learn how to say his name.
Calvin.
Then worry about saying he's a champion.
I'm just saying, what if he's the 185-pound champion in a year or two?
He is. I'm a Kelvin guy, man. How many times do I have to say it? I don't buy many guys' shirts. I have one of his. I'm a fucking fan of, as I say, if I have this one. That's not anybody's shirt specifically, though. That's a dethroned royalty shirt. So as far as fighters go, I don't buy many fighter shirts. I have one of his. I'm a fucking fan, just not at 185.
If he wins that title,
he could. He's that good.
I know he is.
Even if he has a title, I don't like him there.
Cutting weight is overrated.
Yeah, I guess. So, eating is too, I guess, right?
Yeah, because Calvin's doing both.
What else, man? What else? No housekeeping notes, really. If you guys want to get in touch with us, Mike at didyousee-that-shit.com. Go to the website. Give us a call, 708-669-477.
Also, someone asked me, why don't I have an email? And I go, you don't want me to have an email.
Okay, that's why.
We tried it. Anybody who's been asking, like, why is it Mike at didyousee-that-shit podcast.com? Because I say stupid things, and we don't want that.
Okay, I guess that's why.
But you guys should go to didyousee-that-shit.com.
We got a ton of stuff coming up this week.
Oh, my God.
So many fucking interviews. We're going to be pumping out a lot of shit here.
Who are we talking to soon?
Jimmy Rivera.
Oh, my gosh. Yay.
Yeah, he's the number 5th ranked UFC bantamweight in the world. I think he's rated. That's bullshit.
Wait.
They have Rafael Sunsao ranked at number 4.
Houseway.
I don't know how they.
Who allows this to happen? Me and
I can see. To me, there's 3 guys. There's the champ Dillashaw. There's Garbrandt. I lie 4, and then Dominic Cruz, and then Jimmy Rivera. To me, those are the 4 guys that in any given day, you know, those are the cream of the crop. Sun Xiao, he's a fucking amazing fighter. I just think
He can whoop our asses.
of course, that's not saying much.
No.
But Jimmy Rivera is 21-1. I mean, the motherfucker is amazing to say the least.
I think he is great, and I think he is the next up for a title shot. And I am very upset that the UFC
He beats Marlon Moraes, and yeah, he's that. He's
if they try to deny him that, I don't know what they're doing.
All right.
He's exciting too.
And then we're going to be filming a new kind of like a podcast intro thing we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, so before the podcast, me and him talk a lot of shit to each other because not only are we co-hosts, we're also friends. So we talk about a lot of things. Like before this, we were talking about, you know what? Why don't you just admit your feelings?
No, just I didn't. I was
before this. We were talking
reaching
about
for my drink.
No, you weren't. You were asking for help. We were talking about sex, and it was a lot. It was pretty funny of a conversation. So what we decided to do is
He was talking about eating butthole.
listen.
We weren't talking about sex.
Don't judge me, okay? I do some freaky stuff out here. All right. Anyways, just because you haven't experienced, eat that pussy from the back. All right. We'll be talking about things like that before the podcast. So we decided that we want to share that with you guys. You get to know us a little bit.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you.
But it won't be filmed in this way, guys.
No.
We have something cool planned. So.
It's gonna be really cool. And
You probably
it's
won't
gonna be
like
really
it,
fun.
but take a look. Anyway, you might surprise yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add? You're doing Weight Watchers.
Yeah, dude, man, I'm getting skinny out here. Oh man, I've been getting girls just on personality alone. Wait till I get a 6-pack.
I lost 5 pounds.
I'm proud of you.
I know how you can lose a quick, ugly 10 pounds.
Listen.
Cut your head off.
Hey.